Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey and I'm here today with my July TBR. It's been a couple of months that I have not posted a TBR or a wrap up, and I've only posted vlogs. This is simply because I was in like a reading life slump and I was just trying to read books to like keep myself engaged, keep myself active, post videos when I could bring myself to edit, just because it was very difficult for me to like really do anything. But now I'm getting back into the swing of things. I have more energy again, and I clearly have a pretty extensive TBR, so let's get into it. So let's talk about the content you could expect from me this month and the books that will be on my TBR involving that. So we are back once again with Kelsey Reads Riordan. I put off completing the Trials of Apollo series, but I'm back. This is the fourth book in the series, The Tyrant's Tomb. But essentially, the Trials of Apollo series follows the god Apollo. He is being punished for something that occurred in the Heroes of Olympus series, which I will not spoil. And he has been like punished, sent to Earth in order to gather the 5 oracles that have gone dark. And he sort of has to do this without any godly powers. So he's recruited the help of many familiar faces in order to complete the tasks needed. I believe this is the penultimate book because there's 5 oracles. This is book 4. So you can expect a vlog and reading sprints for me this month, but I'm sorry this has been so delayed. I'm in a reading slump, but hopefully Rick Riordan will bring me forward and I will love reading again. Next, in regard to content, we'll go with the Professor Kelsey's book club pick for the month of July. That too has also been delayed. Slightly my fault, slightly Bobby's fault. We have just both been in little reading slumps. I wanted to suggest something. They don't know about this yet. They'll find out at the live show the day after this is recording. So I will leave a link up above to the live show of the Overstory. But that book put me in a fucking reading slump. So I wanted to read something easy, something that I feel like will be fun and we'll all enjoy, and that's Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This mainly follows a young vampire daughter of a councilman named Misery who lives amongst the humans. However, her days upon living mysteriously among them will come to an end because she is being called upon to unite the vampires and the werewolves. Thus, she'll be entering a marriage of convenience with the Alpha Low Moorland. He rules his pack with absolute authority, but not without justice or feeling. It's clear from the way he tracks Misery's every movement that he doesn't trust her. If only he knew how right he was. So I read only one book from Ali Hazelwood, and that was The Love Hypothesis, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was a like contemporary romance. This is a like paranormal romance, and I just think that I'm going to like this so much more, just because I, in general, as an old Twilight bitch, love vampires and werewolves. So I think I'm going to really enjoy this one. At least I hope so. And I hope that Bobby and Justin enjoy it too. The live show for this will probably be in the month of August. So definitely enough time to join us if you want. Then I plan to do 2 other vlogs this month, one of which is involving recent releases. So the books I plan to read for that vlog are House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. This is the 3rd book in the Crescent City series. Bryce Quinlan is sort of tasked with solving the murder of her best friend Danica, and that is how the first book takes off. Her along with her angel boyfriend, I don't remember anything, Hunt, oh my gosh, are sort of like tasked with this idea of like trying to solve this, and obviously the story unfolds from there. The books are like basically 1,000 pages, so you would think actually that more would develop. So basically I have high hopes for like my experience reading this, but I don't have high hopes for me enjoying it, especially because I saw Becca in the books put this as one of her most like disappointing books this year so far. And she's a huge fan of the Crescent City series. And I am not a huge fan of the Crescent City series. I think it is probably Sarah J. Maas's like worst series. Anyways, I'm not gonna get into this rant, but I think it'll be a fun experience to vlog. So this is the first one in this sort of vlog idea I have. Then I would also like to read one of my most highly anticipated releases, and that is The Atlas Complex by Olivia Blake. This has been one of my favorite releases every year that it comes out. The Atlas 6 follows a group of 6 individuals who are recruited to a sort of like academic schoolish type of setting where they have to sort of fight in order to be considered initiated into the Alexandrian society. Of course, only 5 of them are able to be recruited. Given that there are 6, the story unfolds from there. I'm very excited to get into this. I'm excited to see how it ends. I just loved the last two books. I really do think they're amazing, and I just think that Olivia Blake's writing is just absolutely captivating. So I'm very keen to pick this one up. And then the last book I would like to read for that vlog is obviously another highly anticipated read for me. It's The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. This one has a kind of convoluted synopsis. It takes place in Madrid. I believe it is historical fiction as well, and it follows a character named Lucia Cotado, who uses scraps of magic to get through her days of endless toil as a scullion. I don't know what that means. But then her mistress discovers that she has a hidden talent for little miracles, and she demands Lucia use those gifts to better her family's social position. That's all I really want to know. I really like Leigh Bardugo. I think everything that she's done outside of the Grishaverse has been very interesting, very different, stuff that I haven't really read before, and I don't think The Familiar will be any different. I love this book. I love the sprayed edges, so I'm just excited to pick this one up and read something different from Miss Leigh. And then the last blog I want to film this month is a finish a series with me. I will leave a link up above to that playlist where I just decide to finish series because I have so many series on my TBR because I have no impulse control. And the one selected for this month is the Annihilation series by Jeff Vandermeer, starting with Authority. This is my currently reading right now, but I haven't gotten that much of the way through with it. So after 30 years, the only human engagement with Area X has been a series of expeditions sent from the government. Area X is a seemingly malevolent landscape that's surrounded by an invisible border and has mysteriously wiped clean all civilization that was there previously. The Southern Reach is these series of expeditions of people that work for the government and are sent into this region. This book takes place after the 12th expedition was sent into Area X. That is the expedition that is sent in Annihilation. Most of the members of that expedition came back except for one, and the book follows the standing commander as he investigates sort of what happened. So I loved Annihilation. It was definitely one of my favorite books the year I read it, and it made me super keen to read sci-fi horror, eco horror. I really enjoyed that experience and the discussion that I was having. So I'm hoping that Authority and the finale of this series concludes in such a interesting way, the way Annihilation did, and I hope I really enjoy it. I'm very interested to complete this series, so those are two more books that will be added to the TBR. All right, after all of that, we'll get into the books that I'm reading for fun this month. The first is a buddy reread for The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Come November, the fifth book and the final book of this first half of the Stormlight Archive will be completed. I've been meaning to reread this and make my way through Rhythm of War in order to have this half of the Stormlight Archive completed. I really needed a reread. As you can see, each of these books is like over 1,000 pages long, so I needed to like refresh my brain on what's going on. So the first book in the series really opens up the world of the Stormlight Archive. We're following a multi-POV cast, and each individual member of the cast is sort of on their own. So this book takes place several years after the death of King Galavar. He was assassinated by an assassin named Zeth, who was sent there by the Parshendi. This breaches the like sort of agreement that the Parshendi have with Galavar and his people and starts an intense war that happened over the plains. The plains are sort of these chasms that are set up, and this is important because it affects a character named Kaladin. But basically, Roshar is a world relentlessly blasted by awesome tempests where emotions take on physical form and terrible secrets hide deep beneath the rocky landscape. That's the best way I could sort of describe the like start and setting of the novel. It's definitely an epic fantasy, so take from that what you will. I really love this series. The first time I read it, I gave it 5 stars, and I'm diving in again, and I just fell into it again. Like, if you would have asked me a week ago, like, oh, could you describe the first 200 pages of The Way of Kings? I would have been like, no. But then as I was reading it, it was all coming back to me. I was getting flooded with emotions, with happiness. Like, I just love the Stormlight Archive so much. So I'm very excited for this reread. And yeah, I'm gonna be reading like 200 pages a week. So this week I have to read another 200 pages and I'll be roughly 40% of the way into the book. I should be able to complete this by the end of July. Forgot to mention that I will be rereading this, the buddy read with Tammy over at Tammy Tries to Read. So I'll leave a link down below to their channel because they also posted a vlog recently where they started the reading. So just if you want to hear both of our thoughts over the course of the month, there you go. After that, I have an arc that comes out in July that I would like to read, and that is Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle. It comes out in a couple of days. I have no plans to read it, and I didn't realize that it was coming out so soon, but this is from the author of Camp Damascus. This was a book that came out last year, I think, and a lot of people really, really enjoyed it. I've never read from Chuck Tingle before, so I'm very excited to dive into this horror. It follows a character named Misha, who is a jaded scriptwriter in Hollywood, and he's just been nominated for his first Oscar, but when he is pressured to kill off his show's only gay character for the algorithm, Misha discovers that writing that is just not that simple. As he's haunted by his past mistakes, Misha must find a way to do what's right before it's too late. I feel like this is a really simple synopsis. If you don't know, Bury Your Gaze is a trope of gay characters who end up getting killed off in like finales or anything to keep people invested in the show and hanging. So I'm so excited to see how Chuck Tingle tackles this, and I'm really looking forward to reading it, hopefully soon, since it comes out so soon. And then finally, what with the phenomena that is House of Dragons season 2, I have just been itching to dive back into Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin. I've been craving George R.R. Martin recently. I wanted to reread the Game of Thrones series, but I just can't find my copies. I don't know where I put them. So I figured might as well dive into House of the Dragon fully, learn the history, and like just be an annoying know-it-all asshole. So this takes place hundreds of years before the events of A Song of Ice and Fire and follows the dynasty of the House Targaryen. The Targaryen family is the one family that controlled dragons within the history of A Song of Ice and Fire. So this book begins with Aegon the Conqueror. Aegon the Conqueror is the one that created the Iron Throne, the throne that's made of swords and whatnot, and goes on to talk about the different Targaryen families that have vied for this seat, all leading up to a civil war that led to the destruction of their family. The show itself is mainly following, so far, Rhaenyra Targaryen and her fight to the throne, but this one follows a lot more of the family members that are involved. I will be chipping away at this as much as I can, as I am also reading another very thick epic fantasy. So this one is sort of like when I can, when I feel like picking it up. So that's it. Those are all the books I plan to read in the month of July. If you've read any of these books, please let me know down below. Did you love them? Did you hate them? I need to know. If you would like to follow my reading journey anywhere else, I always leave a link down below to my Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram if you would like to follow me there. And of course, because it is the end of the video, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. I tell you every time, but it does wonders for my channel. It makes me feel really good. And that's it. I never know how to end these things, so I will see you next time. Okay, bye!